Bum 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 ba-dum ba-da-ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum. Heyo! I bet you thought that was pre-recorded or whatever I said in the other two. I don't remember. How you doing? John rates Pokemon. I forgot that I used to do this, but I was kind of wanting to play some more pokes in the Nuzlocke, obviously, because I mean, what else am I doing? Um, but it's still Saturday, so I feel like I just came out with the last episode, and who knows, maybe I'll end up recording one tomorrow. But then I remembered that these existed, and there are a heck of a lot of Pokemon generations, and I've only ever done two. So we got a long way to go if I ever keep up with these. Which, I mean, by the time I do another one, the Scarlet and Violet, I believe that's what the next ones are called, will probably be out by then, and then we have even more to do. So we're sitting pretty with that. So we're on to Gen 3, which might be Sapphire and Ruby. I don't know. This is one where I fell off hard. That, like, I have, like, no attachment to any of these boys almost. And I have on my other screen the list of the names because I'm definitely going to need them on these. So bear with me on that if we run into too many problems, but I think we should be okay. So without further ado, getting in, as usual, of course, Nintendo number things into the starters with Trico here. Let's see. Trico, I like his little grabby feet. They look very sticky. He's kind of got some swagger to him. His little red part kind of looks like a big old mouth, though. Like, just like a mouth all the way under his nose to, like, his chest. That's a little weird. I think he's a B. There's nothing too crazy about him, but he's got some flair. So, good job, Trico. Grovyle. I like the little wispy hair leaf. That's cool. And the wrist leaves. I think this bumps it up from Trico. It gets away from Lizard, which is like the only thing I don't love about him, and she just gets into more like kind of generic Pokemon Dragon, but it's got some of the good grass elements. So I'll give that one an A. Sceptile. I like his big bushy tail. That's cool. And it's like a literal bush. uh, the balls on the back are a little weird. This one kind of gets back into lizard territory a little bit more with like the head fins and everything. So I'm a fan of that. It's kind of a little dinosaur-y. I think between everything, the bush tail really brings it up a good bit. I like the tail. I think he sticks with an A. Torchic. I had to look up. I got paranoid. It's been a long time since I've done these. That I was doing the rating system correctly, and I'm good. The bottom is D, then C, B, A, S. So it's weird that tier lists do that, but that's what we're going with. So Torchic is kind of generic. I feel, let's go back. Compare the first evs. Trico's definitely got more going for him. The only thing that Torchic really has is the 1 foot thing. That's pretty cool. Other than that, it's just kind of a chicken. So I think that's a C. Combuskin. Cue the GIF. All right, I think that mostly says everything you need to know about that. I mean, that's gotta be a D. Blaziken is like it wants to be both a furry and a Gundam. I do like that it kind of looks like it's wearing Jinko jeans a little bit. He's such a weird man, though. I think Blaziken... I don't know. I got no love for him. That's a B. Mudkip. Yes. What a good lad. What a little stoic, little donkey boy. I don't even know what I'm saying. All right, let's go. 2 fins. Head fin, butt fin. Very good. Little feet flippers. Nice. I don't really understand the cheek things, but they're cool. S. S for Mudkip. Marshtomp loses it loses like the saturation of the blue and the yellow. Just the eyes aren't as fun because they're too beady. Ugh. That's a C. Yeah. Swampert brings it back up, but nowhere near to the level of Mudkip. I say that nowhere near, but I think this is probably still an A. I like the sweeping back fin. That's pretty cool. Having like weird eyebrow plates. And he's kind of like a mix between a quadruped and like a bipedal thing. That's an A. Which one is this? Poochyena? Who cares? It's just a dumb dog. That's a D. Mightyena brings it back up. Mightyena is pretty cool. I mean, it's still just a dumb dog, but I really like its kind of Snape mullet. That's really all that it's got more than a different dog. So, I mean, you can't bring it up too much higher. That's a B. Zigzagoon is a raccoon dog. That's a D. It's just plain overall. Look at any part of this and nothing stands out. Linoon? Linoon? Maybe it's Linoon. It's just a tube. I'm trying to find anything redeeming about it. I kind of like its long front legs. But that's a D. You got nothing. Wurmple. Ooh, we are in some rough things. I feel like this gen, as I was going through building the little slideshow thing here, there are some real stinkers. Like, I don't know if that's a hot take, but maybe that's why I fell off so hard here. Wurmple, it looks like it has a butt mouth. I like its double cone tail. Is it worse than these things? I mean, it's got some flair. I'll give it a C, I guess. As we move on directly to Silcoon, which is bad. The one eye helps it a little bit, and in this picture it's got the spikes. Sometimes, and I don't even know if this is another Pokemon or not, or if it's like the male-female, it doesn't have the spikes, it's just like a ball. So that probably would have made it a D, but we'll be generous and say C, just because It kind of like looks like some kind of unknowable alien. Beautifly is dope. Just a little chibi weirdo. Anything you can take this to the bank. Anything with a proboscis is a good time. And like it's got like a stained glass window kind of look to its wings. I know it's just a butterfly kind of, but it's a good butterfly. So that's an A. You see, this one's got spikes too. This one is different. Cascoon. How are they different? This one gets a D just because it came second. D's the worst. Yes, gets a D just because it came second, and it's literally the exact same thing. I'm sorry, Cascoon. Oh God. Look at those eyes. Dustox. It's got larva. It kind of like is a larva worm moth. It's got like worms for legs. So at least there's like some amount of originality to it. I don't like the originality. It's gross and horrible, but I'll give it a C. Lotad. I like its tadpole? Lily pad? That's what it is. I like its lily pad. But I mean, other than that, it's just kind of like a blue blob. I'll give it a B. What is this one? Lombre. Good lord. I'm sorry. Like, I had to stretch to give Lotad a B, and we're just in a stretch of stinkers. Like, none of this makes sense together. What are the weird, like, ear circles, and, like, is that a mouth? Or, like, a mustache? I do like that it kind of looks like it's wearing, like, some kind of weird jumpsuit. And it's pointy feet and hands that kind of match are kind of cool. But it's just like throwing anything at the wall. I think it's a C. Ludicolo is a pineapple boy. He's really pleased about it. I'll give him a B. The way that he, like, it kind of just looks like a lot of fruit, which I appreciate. It looks like a pineapple. The hands kind of look like kiwis, and it's got like that plant sombrero. Again, I don't really know why it's a duck, but all that brings it together to be a decent B. C dot, right? Yes. He's just a little acorn. I'm always biased just to like the little guys. I mean, there's nothing good about him. He's just an acorn. But I like him. So it's a B. Nuzleaf. I'm not usually a fan of the things that are just kind of men. And this is just kind of a man. The fact that they gave it nipples is even weirder. So that's a C. I like its nose. Shrifty 5. He is cool. He's pretty cool. I seem to be a fan of like things with like big hair. I'll give this one an A. I don't know what's up with its high heels. You can't even really call it high heels. It's like high ball foot. But yeah, like everything else is really good about this guy. Like the leaf hands are obviously dope as heck. I like the ears. Good guy. Menacing. Like a little goblin under the bridge. Oy. You can't just put a bird in it and call it a Pokemon. That's a D. You can't just put a sexy looking bird in it and call it a Pokemon. That's a sexy D. Wingull, to me, is a slightly better bird. It is just a bird, but I don't know if it's just the color palette, but it always gave me a better vibe. It's not much better vibe. It's still a C vibe, but I think it's the combination of the proportions not being just a bird and the colors that do it. But, you know, who cares? Pelipper. This is a personal thing. I think pelicans are disgusting. Pelicans and like ostriches and emus with their gross flesh mouths are the worst. So this is just my bias, and this is a D. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Ralts. Ralts is cool. I like that you can't see its eyes. It kind of looks like a character from Peanuts. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe, but who knows? Yeah, who knows what that is. Obviously pretty simple though, so nothing bringing it to the superior tier, so that's an A. What is this one called? Curlia? I didn't know this one existed until I put it on the slideshow. But it's pretty cool. The whole Ralts line is pretty strong. I like its little skirt thing and how it's kind of doing like a little dancer move. So I'll keep that one on an A. Kind of continuing the decent thing with the Ralts line. Gardevoir, again, is an A. None of those three have anything that really make them super stand out. I like the flowiness of Gardevoir. Even though people make it too sexy, apparently. Surskit is so bland. Like, the only thing it has going for it is, like, the little eye blush things. But just, like, the spindliness of it and the fact that just other than legs, it's just, like, a featureless circle. It's a D. What is Masquerain? Pretty cool. I'll give it a B. I like the double and almost triple wings. I don't know if those are ears. And the pattern on the top ear wings. The shape of the head is pretty weird. And again, the face just not having any features. This is kind of bringing it down a little bit. But not bad. Not bad at all. Shroomish, again, is a little guy, so I have some affection for him, especially his little stern face, but nothing more than a B for this friend, just because there's not a lot to latch on to. Kind of like a Goomba. Not really a mushroom. So that he loses points for that. Nothing really identifying this guy so much as a mushroom. Looks more like a head of garlic, if anything. Now this thing can get it. What is this thing? Breloom. Is this thing an S? You know, we've been stingy on it. We've been pretty harsh on Gen 3 here. I'm going to give Breloom an S. This thing is amazing. Look at his little beak face. It's very good. He just looks so sensitive, and like how it so perfectly melds into his mushroom head. Um, the tail is nice as well. Kind of gives me Pseudo-Wudo vibes. And I feel like not a lot of grass. Is this even grass? It is grass. It's grass fighting. That's cool. Grass types have like forms beyond just kind of being a plant with a face, and this has like some interesting body proportions to it. I like it. Slackoth. You can't just put a sloth in the thing and call it a Pokemon. That's a D. Vigoroth. That guy's a lot better. It's kind of like what are like those giant sloths that went extinct. Kind of like a sloth monkey hybrid. I like that its nose and hair kind of look like a weird exclamation point. Here's a little paw circle. Kind of gives it some extra flavor. Nothing too crazy. Still a B, but pretty good. What is this one? Slacking. I think it's generous to keep this at a B, but I like that he's kind of like a King Kong little guy. A big guy. And he doesn't care about anything. He's definitely got Snorlax vibes. I just like how bulky he is, and it's just like unapologetic. Pretty good. That's just another bug. Nincada. It's a C. I'll give it a C because at least it's not just a bug. Like, it's not just like a cricket. There's at least some stuff going on. It kind of looks robotic, which is pretty cool. I like the variation of the legs. You know what? It's kind of growing on me a little bit. I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. This is pretty cool. This has Beedrill vibes. I'll give that one an A, which is kind of surprising for bug type. Usually, I feel like everybody, but also me. It looks pretty harshly upon the bugs. Yeah, definitely got that robot kind of feel to it. Kind of like a... what are those things called? Power Rangers. Kind of got a Power Ranger mask vibe. I feel like they could have done more with the wings, but definitely one of the better looking bug types. Shedinja. I'm a sucker for aliens. No, I don't really care about aliens. I'm a sucker for angels. And I mean, this thing's got the halo. I like that it's got like rigid wings. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool eye shape overall. I think this one's sticking with an A as well. And I think this thing can like only be hit by like super effective attacks. So that's cool. Like, you normally don't put that in here. Because normally I don't know it. But since that thing is just so weird. There you go. Whismer is so weird. I hate those eyes so much. If they gave it different eyes, it would be like one of my little guy friends that I just bump up way too high. But they didn't. Also, its random hole in its head is disturbing. They made some bold choices with it, so I'll give it a B. I just don't understand the choices. Loudred is very good. I like Loudred and Noivern. Like the kind of like the weird subwoofer sound ear guys. I think Noivern is the bat one that kind of looks like him. I don't think it's quite S material. The way that the teeth and like the toenails, for lack of a better word, are the same is concerning. But I'm a fan of like how the mouth like has like the rings of like the subwoofers, kind of like connects the whole design. So I don't remember if I said it, but that one's an A. Explode. I think I'll bump Explode up to an S. I really like this thing. It's got like exhaust pipes, like biker exhaust pipes for tails, and it's just like, hey, the toes and the teeth are slightly different. The toes have like a curve to them, so that's good. And just like all of the weird like tube head crown bits, and yeah, it just looks very tough. It's crazy that Whismer evolves into this thing. Well done, Explode. Makuhita. He's just a little guy. Just kind of like a little dumpling. Just like a punch dumpling. Nothing wrong with that. And the eyes on this one somehow hit me better than Whismer. Even though they've kind of got a similar, just weird shape vibe to it. The boxing glove thing, I really like. This guy's an A. Hariyama, let's see. Yeah, I'll keep him at an A. I just think there's not a lot of guys like him. And I say that like kind of directly contradicting what I said before about not liking the ones that are kind of just men. But I don't know, I feel like with like Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, this guy, for some reason it feels like it works a little bit better with like the fighting types. I like that his hands are so huge and like it kind of flows well with the shape of his little skirt thing. Pretty good. Oh, Azurill. S. I know. It's not incredible, but they're just so cute. And like, look at him, he's sitting on his own tail. Oh, it'll be okay, Azurill. You don't have to be sad. Oh, little guy. Alrighty. Nosepass, right? Yes. Worst. Hate it. So weird. That's D. Why is it a nose? Why is it called nose? It makes me uncomfortable. Skitty. Just a little skitty. And because it's just a little skitty, that's a C. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. Don't really understand why it's got like a tail and then 3 more tails that don't look like any of the rest of it. The ear shape is pretty cool and kind of like the crescent moon face pattern thing, but it's just a skitty. What is this thing? Delcatty? Yeah, I like, again, the head and, like, I don't even know if those are ears. I hope they're ears, actually, because if not, then it's just like a weird cavernous head hat covering thing. I'm gonna assume they're ears. Why does it have a travel neck pillow? The world may never know. Let's see. Sableye. That guy's cool. Gem eyes, love it. Just creepy little goblin. He's creeping around. That's an A. I like the, I think, Mega Evolution, where he's just got, like, instead of, like, his little chest gem, just, like, he's hiding behind this giant gem. It's very good. Mile. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I wish I could see its face in this thing. I'm debating between A and S. Again, let's be generous. I feel like I've been riding Gen 3 hard. I'll give Mile an S. I really like its mouth thing, which is obviously the main feature. It's hair, mouth. It's just like so weird and good for like a creepy vibe. I like it. I don't know how to pronounce this one. Aaron, Aaron. That's a B. I like it just because, I mean, it's fairly unique in that it's not just an animal, but and the shape is decent. I don't know. Not a lot there. Lairon. So maybe the first one is Aaron? Anyway, Lairon. I really like kind of like the Rhydon, Rhyhorn type boys, and this guy's got that vibe definitely. I like the commitment to like having like the weird holes or at least black dots, whatever those are, across like the whole of the body. Just looks like armored to heck. I'll give that an A. What is this one? Aggron. Yeah, this is how it usually is for me. I like the form where they're like more quadrupedal. It's the second time I've used that word. More so than when they just get to kind of be generic dinosaur guy. The headpiece is pretty cool. But to me, it goes down a little bit to a B. Metatite. It's just a little diaper baby. Little garlic diaper onion baby. If that doesn't get you an A, I don't know what does. Hey, it's Brecht. Metachan, right? Cham. Really weird, though. Really, really weird. It's just like... Again, I like the big pants. But... It kind of looks like there's like some kind of weird fish just hanging out on his head, just going in his mouth. I don't like, so that's a C. Electrike. Green dog. That's a C. Manectric. I hate its cone head. I don't know why I'm so against its cone head, but it bothers me. The tail is cool. I like its little zigzag and kind of like its hip plates. So I'll keep it at a C. Plusle, I've never been a fan of Pikachu copies, even though they are just little guys. This guy is basically exactly Pichu, and it bothers me that they continue to make these happen. That's a D. Minun, guess what? You're a D. This thing is the Copper Tone baby. Man, do I not like this thing. Ugh. Its head noodles are unsettling. It's again got another travel pillow around its neck. This one's kind of more like a pool inflatable, and then it's just a weird bug. That's a D. I don't like this thing. For some reason, did I even say what that thing was? That was Volbeat. For some reason, though, Illumise here, I think that's how you say it, hits me a good bit better. And it may just even be the angle it's standing at. And it lost the head noodles. It's really not that different, but I feel like the shape works a little bit better. Like the arms and the wings kind of match a little. The pattern on the chest doesn't really make any sense, but I like it a lot better. I'll give that one a B. Rosalia, I've always been a big fan. I like the asymmetrical colors on the hands. Nothing too crazy. But I don't know. That's enough to have me give it an A. Well done, Rosalia. Gulpin. The only thing you got going for you, buddy, is your little kissy face. I mean, that's just fun. It's just a blob. That's a C. Swalot. I like this guy a good bit better. Again, he kept the kissy face, so that's good. For some reason on this guy, the weird noodle mustache I like better than the noodle head thing on Volbeat. It's not very good. The diamond shape pattern seems like they just added it to have something. So that's a B. This thing's dope. The only thing holding this thing back is the fact that its name is apparently Carvana, which just makes me think of that car vending machine company. But I'll try not to have that influence me too much. Love the colors. The inset eyes are good. Pointy all around. That's an A. Sharpedo is pretty good. I don't think it's quite S. These are both pretty close to being S. And I feel like I was generous on something else recently, but I forgot what it was. You know what? I feel like it's hard to do the fish right. So I'll give Carvana, the vending machine company, an S. And then I'll give Sharpedo an A. Just because I feel like they started really strong with it, but they could have done something more with the back. It kind of just cuts off. Should get kind of supposed to be like Torpedo, but maybe like have a propeller somehow. I don't know. I still really like it though. Whalmer, right? Yeah. Pretty good. I like that it's got like the baleen teeth thing going on. Kind of looks like a Thanos chin. Not much to go off of, so, you know, that's a B. Wailord is less exciting to me. Sneeze. He's just a tube, so he's big and chonky, so it doesn't go all the way down to D. He just goes down to C. Numel is pretty good. I like how tired he looks. I basically like the top half of him more than the bottom half. I feel like if they did something like more hoofy with the feet, that could have pushed him into an A, but right now he's just a B. You see here, Camerupt has the hoof foot. That's pretty cool. I'll give him an A. It's a light A because I don't understand the circles, the random blue circles. That doesn't really make any sense, but having volcano or whatever rock humps is pretty cool. Not bad. Torkoal. Just getting more like Tokol. I'm sure I'm not the first person to make that joke. Good, very good. That's an A. Not a S tier because looking beyond the smoke, it's pretty basically just a turtle, but kind of having like the inner glow in like those shell holes, and like obviously the smoke makes it. Especially the one coming out of the nose. That's quite good. That's an A. Oh. Yes. Yes. The man, the myth, the legend. What can we say? Pink. Love it. Spring. Can you believe it? Nose. Very oinkable. Little blushy face. Correct. Cute little eyes. Present. Has like a weird little ball that it bounces around. Perfect. Piggy pig. That's an S. that was Spoink. I'm pretty sure you knew that was Spoink. Grumpig. Grumpig loses it completely. What did they do to my boy? The balls are not as cool. They're very tiny and just kind of tacked on there, and they're not pink anymore. Doesn't make any sense. He's not balancing it on his head. Giant ears make me uncomfortable. The tail looks like Mew. Doesn't make any sense. So sad. That's a C. Spinda. I'll give this one a B. I don't like the eyes, but I like the commitment to have the eyes be the same, like little spinny spins as the ears. I also like just kind of like the chaotic nature of like having random red spots under the eyes, which, how does that make sense? But it's just kind of a teddy bear guy, so yeah. Trapinch. I can't believe this is an evolution line. I was looking at this when I was putting the thing together. It doesn't make any sense. This is a crab thing. And then it turns into like a bug thing. It's very, very weird. That said, that is a menacing mouth you got there, sir. I like how huge his head is compared to the rest of its body. I'll give it a B. And then it apparently evolves into this thing. How does that make literally any sense? It seems like they wanted the 3 evolution line for whatever this thing is. Vibrava, and then they had this crab. And then they were like, just make it the crab. It's very weird. Again, kind of got like a stained glass window vibe on the wings. Like that. It's really the only thing this thing has going for it, though. The double wings. So that's a B. Flygon. Flygon's a good bit better. I kind of like that it has, like, cool goggles, like flight goggles. Its head kind of looks like a green onion, which doesn't make sense for a ground dragon. But I'm a fan of this guy. I'll give him an A. Cacnea? Yes. Pretty good. I like its creepy, like, sewn together mouth thing. That's cool. It's got kind of like bludgeon hands. Not too much going on, but I'll give it an A. I really like the mouth. Cacturn. I feel like there's too much repetition on this thing, just with all those spiky spikes being like the exact same thing. Still got the mouth, and I like the head. They just really whiffed it with the body. I'll give it a B. Hey, Swablu. You're oh yeah, you're a cute guy. This is how you do a bird, people. Cloud. Just make have the wings be clouds. That's good. That's very good. I'll give Swablu an A. Uh, the little, it might even be in high B territory if they didn't have like the little head tufty. I like the thickness of the beak and how it matches the colors of the wings, and the wings are obviously amazing. And like the head tufty. So that brings it to an A. But it's close. Altaria. I'll keep it an A. Will I? Heck, I like Altaria. I don't know. I'm bringing Altaria an S. I feel like my super high scores might be like a sliding scale a little bit for the different generations. So like a Gen 1, Gen 2 S might not be quite the same as a Gen 3 S, but I like Altaria. So I want to give it some props. Love the cloud body. The little cheeks are very fun. How it's just got the flowing head tails. Is very good. S. This guy, Zangoose, just looks like he was an anime wannabe protagonist. Really doesn't look like a Pokemon at all. This is a Digimon. I put a Digimon in here on accident, I think. This is a C. So Viper, look how cheeky he looks. Oh, just slithering around. Very good. Like the knife tail. His weird face. The long fangs are good. That's an A. That's an A. Loon something? Lunatone? Weird. Is that middle piece a mouth? I don't like it. If it is. It feels like they were going for like the unknowns, but forgot what an unknown was. C. Is it a C? I'll give Lunatone a B. For the reason that I'm giving Soul Rock a C. Because I feel like Soul Rock is worse. But I don't want to give either of them a D, just because they're pretty unique at least. I don't like Soul Rock's eyes. And for some reason, I've always just liked the moon. I guess that might be why. Ugh. Barboach. Who even cares? Who even cares about this stupid little thing? Did you even remember this existed until now? This is a D. As opposed to Whiscash. Whiscash is stunting on you. Look at this guy. Got like a little crown eyebrow thing. That's amazing. Love his derpy little stare. And again, for some reason, the mustache twirl is good. It's not that good, but it's B good. Corefish. It's like they stuck a Trapinch head onto a different crab and called it a day. It is just a weird amalgamation of crab, lobster. It seems like they didn't really add much beyond that. That's a C. This thing, Crawdaunt, good bit better. The claws are cool. I like that it's got like 6 appendages. Again, a little bit of a match, but what did I give the last one? Did I give the last one a B? If I gave the last one a B, this one's still a B, but it's a higher B. Ball toy. Odd decision. Just making him a top. I like its little eyebrow nose combo. And how his eyes are closed. The arms are what kind of get me. It's weird. It's a B. What is that thing? Clay doll? Weird. I like all of its eyes. The body is what trips me out, especially, again, the arms. They look like those things that you use to suck snot out of a baby's nose. Like the eyes, everything else is skeezing me out. That's a C. Lilleep. Bold. Not my kind of bold, though. The very top is pretty cool. I like the weird tongues and like the dark face, but literally everything else is just like so strange. And the colors and patterns are weird. That's a C. That's better. Cradilly. Kind of solves some of my issues with like making those circles like kind of fake eyes and still keeps like the tongue things. I keep forgetting what I rate these guys. Again, if I gave that other thing a B, this is still a B, but it's a higher B. Anorith is a thing from that game Spore. If you know that, that's just what this is exactly. I think it like doesn't have legs, which I kind of like. It's just got the arms, but like the little side bits don't make any sense. That's a B. Ugh. This is Armaldo? Why is it even called that? You're not an armadillo. So weird. Like, every piece of this just looks like it could have been grabbed from anything else. It's like the colors of Nidoqueen with, like, freaking crabby leg arms. Like, the tail feathers of a Pidgeot. It doesn't make any sense. This thing is a C. How did you make Magikarp worse? This is Phoebos. That's a D. Melodic. I like the color scheme. It's weird that it has hair as like a fish, dragony reptile thing. I don't know. I'll give it an A because I feel like it's got to be the higher than some of the other things I've rated. Why did you give the ghost boobs? Cast form is a D. This guy's pretty cool. I wish this thing had an evolution. It's like they made two. This thing should have been the grass starter. This is the better version of Trico. The spiral tail is dope. It kind of like has like a Mayan and Incan vibe to it to me. Yeah. I wish this thing had an evolution. That's an A. Shuppet. Not much to say there, but I like that it's called Shuppet. It's very good. And how it's a shadow puppet. It's a B. What is this thing? Bonnet? Bonetti? Something. Not bad. Cool zipper mouth. Doesn't really look like it would evolve from Shuppet, but I like its wispy head tail. That's a pretty good ghost Pokemon. I'll give that an A. Dust Skull, also pretty good. That's worthy of an A as well. I'm a fan of things with like the sunken dark faces, and especially because he's got like the skull mask and the bone back. That's very good. Kind of looks like he's got his hands behind his back too. Not bad. Dusclops. That goes down to a B for me. I like that its hands aren't connected to its body. I think that's the case. I don't think you can really see it on this picture, but I think that's real. But it loses like any of like the sentience. It looks like a Regigigas, Regirock kind of thing. It's weird. This seems also like they tried to like make a third evolution of a starter, and they were like, oh well, just throw it in anyway. What is this thing? Tropius? Banana Beard is very good. Little back fans are very good. That's worthy of an A. Cool dinosaur, like Brontosaurus deal. Chimecho. Let's see. I like his little dangly ribbon. Kind of looks like it has a goblet for a head. The pattern on the little red accent's good as well, but nothing too crazy. That's a B. Absol, who cares, man? I know people like Absol, but this one, it's like they forgot they freaking had a Dark Evolution Evolution, and then they just made another one and put it in anyway. Who cares? Absol's a C. Why not? All right, yep. Only thing really going for it is its little shadow boy. I don't like its head nub or its weird stump feet. Its little ear tails are cool. But that's altogether a B. Snowrunt is a very good lad. Again, a weird sunken face that I like. And like always like a little wrapped up and shivering. That's an A. What the heck is this thing? Glalie? Loses a lot of the luster of Snowrunt. I kind of like the mountainy, snowy effect a little bit, but a B. Spheal. It's a fat seal. That's a C. Celio is a crappy walrus. That's a C. This thing is like the Walrein. It's like the only time this evolution does anything slightly unique. That goes up to a B just for like the kind of seafoam hair type deal. Other than that, it's just another walrus. Clam Pearl. I don't like when they give things weird nubs. It's disturbing. And it's kind of just a clam. That's a C. Huntail. It's so ugly. The circles don't make any sense. I kind of like that its tail looks like a fish a little bit. That's like its only redeeming quality, so that's a C. Gorabus, on the other hand, hate it. Disturbing. Eyelashes. Shell bra. On a fish. That doesn't make any sense. I can't believe how long this video is. I should keep it up. Keep powering through. That's a D. Relicanth. For some reason, I like this thing. It is just a fish, but it really, I feel like it's the rocky, ancient kind of vibe going. I'll give that an A. Why not? Love Disc. Hate it. Stupid. I hate fish overall, and this one being flat and weird and its mouth makes me uncomfortable. That's a D. Bagon, he's stunting on him. Love his little mullet. I wish they could figure out more to do with the bodies of these things to make them less just like the same generic dinosaur kind of deal, but still good enough for an A. Shelgon, on the other hand, doesn't make any sense for this evolution line. Goes down to a B. I like the sunken face. What can I say? Salamence, who cares? I know people like Salamence, but again, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you got a T-Rex boy, then just like a steel ball, and then you got a dragon. Doesn't make any sense. The colors are the kind of the only thing that makes this cool. I guess the shape of the wings and long tail is pretty good too, but other than that, it's just a generic dragon, so that's a B. This thing that I never know what it is, Beldum. Really weird. This is not a creature. It looks like some kind of kitchen appliance or like a hip replacement. I hate this thing. That's a D. That is so much better. Metang. Really cool. That's an A. Love how it floats, it seems like. I think. And its robot vibe. Metagross, I'll give an S. Love like the little grippy pointy feet. And the big ol' X face. He's cool. All right, getting into legendaries. Regirock is one of my favorites of the Regi line, as it were. I like these guys. I like their kind of just ancient elemental vibe. I'll give Regirock an A. Regice falls off a little bit for me. I think it's just that the arms are too thick. I don't know. That's a B. Registeel is also a B. I don't know. I kind of like its technology vibe, but its shape is just boring. Latios and Latias, I mean, they're the same thing, so group them together. So generic for legendaries. They're just dragons. Just dumb, smooth dragons. That's a C. I've always liked Kyogre more than Groudon. I like the patterns on it and how they kind of flow with the tail and kind of like the edges of the fins. That's an A. Groudon, again, is just a generic dinosaur. I like its kind of comey pointy tail and comey pointy headpiece. B. Rayquaza is pretty cool. Brings it back up to an A. I think like kind of like the different little sections with like the fins really help it out for me, rather than just being like a tube. And kind of like its back wings, tiny back wings. Pretty good. Jirachi, I like it. It's kind of got a cape. I don't know why I like it so much, but it's still an A. It's kind of got the angel vibe, and it's very cute. Deoxys, you know, I'll give Deoxys an S. End it on an S. I really, really like the twisty arms. It's just like so alien-y. It really feels like it sets it apart from most other things and works with like the legendary status. And just feels like just a robot. I like Deoxys. All right. Oh, goodness. really tucked in for that one, didn't we? Thanks for sticking around for the long haul. Hope you had some sillies with my ridiculous Pokemon ratings. Oh, yeah, I like doing these. It's fun. All right, I should probably end this. And remember, I rate you an S+.